Hello friends, welcome back to Miss Ashley's Pre-K in my yard. This morning we continue to talk about the season of summer in our Zoom, but we also talked about the five senses. Very good. What are the five senses? Smelling, seeing, hearing, tasting, and touching. And during the season of summer, it's a great time to explore our senses because we can often go outside. So let's see, Miss Ashley's outside. What do I hear? I hear a fire truck. I also hear a lawnmower. And I hear birds chirping. What do I feel? I feel the sun on my skin. I feel my bottom in my beach chair. What do I see? I see trees. I see my house. I see a wheelbarrow. What do I smell? I smell the grass. And what do I taste? I can taste my water. If you have a picnic or a barbecue outside, you can do the tasting part too. If you want to explore your five senses outside, you can go to a playground, the beach, your front yard, your backyard, anywhere. So this book, Sneakers, the Seaside Cat, is all about this little kitty exploring the beach with his five senses. The author is Margaret Wise Brown, so she wrote the words. It's illustrated by Anne Mortimer, so she drew the pictures. Let's see what this little kitty is up to. Once there was a little fat cat, and his name was Sneakers. He had 4 white paws, and almost all the rest of him was inky black. He lived with a little boy and his father and his mother. One day, the little boy and his father and his mother went to the seashore. Do you ever bring your pets to the seashore? We saw in yesterday's book they brought their dogs, and today they're bringing their cats. I've never brought my pet to the seashore. When Sneakers came to the sea, he was delighted. He could smell the fish. He thought he could catch them like mice, but when he dipped his careful little white paw into the blue sea, the water was wet, and it was cold. So Sneakers decided to go out in a field and look for mice instead. So friends, he used 3 senses. He smelled the fish, he touched the water that was cold and wet, and he used his eyes to look for the fish, so his sight. The field was full of butterflies. He's what? Seeing. So Sneakers chased one, but the sea was bothering him. All around him he could smell it, beyond the smell of the pine trees, and he could feel it. It excited him. And way off, he could still hear it. Boom, boom, boom. What are those booms that you hear in the ocean? If you said waves, you're right. Sneakers didn't know that boom, boom, boom was the sea pounding the rocks way offshore, out on the ledges of the sea. So friends, he's using lots of senses. He's hearing the ocean, he's smelling the sea, he's feeling excited. Then he heard, ha, 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 scree, scree. He wondered what it was. First it was a shadow, then it was a bird. Only it was such a big bird, it didn't seem very frightened of a little black cat with little white paws. Sneakers didn't like to think about birds who are not afraid of cats, so he went for a walk on the beach. Have you ever heard the seagulls at the beach? Have you ever seen them? I hope you have not touched them. It's not really safe to do that. Little shrimps about the size of a cat's claw jumped out about in the sand. Sneakers roughed up his fur and lifted his feet higher as he walked along. Sneakers doesn't seem to like the shrimp on his feet. Pounce! He nearly caught a sand shrimp, but sand shrimps were jumping all the time, and they were too little to bother with anyway. Do you like the feel of sand on your feet and your hands? Some people do, and some people do not. Then up ahead on the yellow sand, Sneakers saw something. It was yellow and pink on the outside. Sneakers had never seen anything that shape before. Then he crept up to it and peeked in. There was nothing in it. He put his head down to it and listened. There was a roar like the ocean's roar in it, but there was nothing in it. Friends, what is that? Do you know what that is? It's a seashell, you were right. So he lifted his paws and walked along the beach some more. He saw a big flat thing with long, bent legs. Sneakers could see the two black, shiny eyes sticking out of its head. Sneakers crept after it. What is that sea animal? A crab! But the crab's eyes stuck so far out of its head that they had seen Sneakers coming. The crab scuttled down the water's edge. Remember, do they go forward and backward? They go sideways. But Sneakers was too quick for it. He hit the crab with his paw to see what it would do. What do you think the crab is going to do with its claws? The crab shot out one of its long bent legs, grabbed hold of Sneakers' little white paw in its crab claw. Pinch! It hung on and pinched Sneakers a little. Sneakers did not like that at all. He snatched his paw back so fast that the crab fell off. Then he licked his paws and roughed out his fur and walked on down the beach. Again, crabs are something you might see at the beach, but you might not want to touch them unless you go crabbing. Crabbing is super fun. It's when you put cages into the ocean water with food inside and then you catch some crabs to eat for dinner. Miss Ashley's done that a few times before and it is super fun. Something was happening in the air. The air was wetter and heavier. Sneakers could feel it on his tender little nose, and when he looked around, there were great puffs of smoke blowing in from the sea. They smelled of the sea and came drifting in puffs as big as clouds, until you couldn't see the sun anymore. Everything was gray, and the land beyond was all dim and dark like one big shape. My, but I'm glad I saw that, thought Sneakers. Lots of senses. In the morning, it was still foggy. Fog makes it hard for you to see. Down in the depths of the sea, the fish swam slowly and the starfish pointed their spiky arms. Lobsters crawled into lobster pots and sea urchins clung to rocks. Then the sun came out of the gray and drove the fog away. It was low tide and all around was seaweed. Then Sneakers heard a little sound. It was like creaky breathing. It was the seaweed popping. My, I'm glad I heard that, said Sneakers. He's hearing more things. And he sat and warmed himself in the sunlight, so he's feeling the sun, and watched the light of the wave on the waves. The next day, Sneakers and his family left the seashore. All the way home in the car, Sneakers thought soft little cat thoughts. Deep in the fog, a sea-slung gong sleepily rocks to its ding-dong-dong. Hark to the sound of the sea-slung gong. Ding-dong-dong, ding-dong-dong. Do you think Sneakers liked exploring the ocean and the beach and the sand and everything that went with it? Look at his face. I think so too. The end. So friends, you can spend any day in the summer exploring with your 5 senses. What do you smell, see, hear, taste, and touch? And don't forget, I always like to add an extra sense. What do you feel with your heart? You can do kind things for your friends or family with your heart. I think that should be the 6th sense. Okay, friends, as always, love you lots and miss you bunches. Mwah!